How are you, San Francisco? Well, we sang a little while ago, It Gets Better, and I have my son here, Joshua, with me tonight to prove that. 42 years ago today, my brother was drugged behind a car in Abilene, Texas on Halloween night because he was a faggot. 22 years ago, my son came out in his high school, and they wrote the same word on our car and knocked him down the stairs. And then his sister came out, and they did the same thing to her. Now here's what's really bad. I was a fundamentalist evangelical member of the Church of Christ in the South. And while those people drugged my brother and abused my son and hurt my daughter, I stayed in the closet. And I let that happen to them. Now I want you to rest with that just a minute, because if there hadn't been organizations like Metropolitan Community Church and the Human Rights Campaign and Soulforce, I would have stayed there. And I'm not sure my son would be standing with me today. In our city in Abilene, because of those organizations, and because there were people like you who agreed to be our family when I came out, and no one else wanted to be our family at that moment, you can guarantee it. They thought there was some sort of genetic aberration or something in the water. If we hadn't had you, another family, to embrace us and take us on and teach us, we had to learn how to be gay, you know, in Abilene. There are no books in the library. If we hadn't had you to take us on, I'm not sure any of us would be here today. So I'm here tonight to do two things. First, to say thank you, and then I want to say we have to be accountable in that same way for all of the kids who are still out there. They have to know that there is a bigger family available to them. They have to know that projects like the Family Acceptance Project are now going into conservative, fundamentalist, evangelical families and helping them understand how to embrace their own children. There wasn't anything like that when I was coming out. They have to know that there are people and allies all around the world waiting to embrace them. We are going to have to speak to our peers, the parents of young people, their preachers and their teachers. We're going to have to speak to them adult to adult and say, this madness has to stop. We have to make ourselves visible and heard to young people. We have to tell our stories. How did we survive? How did it get better? How did we withstand bullying? How sometimes we had to pack up and leave our families of origin for a while just to be safe. So I want to ask you tonight, if you're willing to do that loudly enough, for a 15-year-old boy I met last week in Abilene, Texas, to hear you. Are you ready? He showed up in Abilene. This is the cool thing. He showed up in Abilene because he heard that there was a church there that was safe for gay kids. It's called Exodus Metropolitan Community Church. But I want him to hear his family tonight. So I'm going to ask you on the count of 3. His name is William. All the way there. Can you tell him, we love you, William, and we'll be your family?
We love you.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
We love you, William. We'll be your family.
All right.
So when I heard of all the suicides, the beatings, the murders of LGBT youth this past month in the media, I thought about how many more who hadn't been covered, and how I'm sick of being treated as a second-class citizen in this country. For all the rhetoric, I put these tragic losses of lives squarely on Congress, the judicial system, the politicians in this state, and this city, and quite frankly, Barack Obama himself. When people in society see that laws such as ENDA, the Employee Non-Discrimination Act, not going anywhere in Congress, when the president will give hospital visitation rights to couples, but says he's against same-sex marriages, when Gavin Newsom, who is for sit-lie, which is a law that would seriously affect LGBT youth in this city seeking refuge, what do you think this tells bigots who make of this? What do you think they make of this? They think it's okay to discriminate. They think it's okay to hurt people in our community. And they think it's okay to murder. You know, and it's wrong. Yeah, boo. Hell yeah. Because we're treated as second-class citizens. They see it as they won't face the same amount of persecution, like prosecution or backlash as protected communities in this country. Hope is great, and it's important to keep hope alive. As one of my heroes in my life has once said, you got to give them hope. But one way to keep hope in the hearts of youth and all in our communities is to stand up to one of the biggest groups around that continues to sanction this bigotry, which is our government, unfortunately. Youth in this country need a lot of things, and we as adults need to actively work with youth and listen to their thoughts, to work alongside them, not talk down to them, working together. I think Dan Savage's It Gets Better project is fine and all, but the main ways it can get better is if we together, whoever is in the halls of Congress and laws, of school systems, wherever and whatever, that we won't stand for this mess any longer. We gotta let them know. You'll be seeing us on the regular, for real. Because we're gonna hold you to the fire, for real. For keep doing this whole second-class status in this country. It can get better, but it can only get better with activism. Fighting back against bigotry can make it better. I'm not saying that organizing is easy, because there can be many ups and downs. But I do believe that another world, it really is possible. Victories can send message to our youth and to everyone in our communities that things can actually change. I mean, with all the stuff that's happened, like all the amazing things that have happened around Prop 8 and all sorts of local struggles all throughout the country, that has given such amazing images for youth around the country. And we need to take more of that. There needs to be more visibility. There needs to be more things to let youth know, to let people know everywhere that we can't back down to all this stuff that's going on. So let's take the pain that we may be feeling, the frustration and the anger, and let's challenge it into something positive. Making sure that not another person has to go through this another day. Not another kid has to walk down in their schools and hear such vile mess. What can we do? We gotta fight back. We can't just stand around. We can't just hope that things can change. We got to make that change happen. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, my fellow speakers, and all of you from the bottom of my heart. And thank you from Affirmation for being here and standing up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. I myself have looked long and hard at all the reasons why I should kill myself, and I don't know why I'm still here. I have far too many friends who have tried, unfortunately have failed, and still too many others who have succeeded. I want my friends back. but we're not going to get our friends back. Instead, we have to work so we don't lose another friend, another daughter, another son, another brother, another sister. My own representatives in my state were here tonight speaking, Tom Amiano and Mark Leno. Yeah. To them, as their constituent, I say, go back to Sacramento. Our governor just signed into law a fantastic bill that does so much more to provide mental health services to our troubled youth. We can do more. My representatives, go back to Sacramento and write a better law that goes farther and gives us more, so we don't lose any more. And to all the rest of you, you also need to pressure your lawmakers to do the same, city, state, and federal. You must also give of your means and time to the Trevor Project, to the Family Acceptance Project, to everyone who works so hard to save the lives of those who cannot stand up for themselves right now. Do it. Volunteer with them. Learn what the warning signs are and how to talk with love and patience and compassion for those who despair. When you see someone verbally harassed and abused, speak up, defend them. When you see someone beaten up, pushed around, stand up for them, get in the way, stop the bullies. And for those of you all over who do despair, who hear the words of the bullies and the bigots telling you that you are no good, don't believe them. You are too smart for that. You are too hopeful for that. You are too amazing to believe their hateful words. You are worth far more than they can possibly understand. Show them just how good and wonderful, beautiful, and amazing you are by living well. To all of you everywhere who worry about the next day, who've heard the terrible words, just wait, it gets better.